Hi everybody, Luke Galland here from the YT624EJ maintenance channel. So today we're at episode 27 and I've been announcing that this is coming for a long time. We're finally doing something about this working light. So as we've covered many times, this working light has a tendency of failing if the battery is disconnected or dead, etc. So I had promised that I'd make an episode with a new light and a protective circuit to prevent that failure mode. And finally that day has come. So I want to announce that I've selected a 1 amp light approximately, and that is to fit in line with the charging current of the rectifier regulator. And I have paired with that an overvoltage protection circuit, who I'd like to thank my friend Peter Moore for helping with the design of that and the manufacturing. So first and foremost, here's the packaging for the new light that I've selected. It is a Grody LED work light, model number BZ111-5. So this light will run on 12 to 36 volts, and it says average current draw 1.2 amps, but at about the 13 volts I found the current was just about 0.9 amps. And after a lot of painful assembly at the workbench, prototyping various configurations, this is the final setup. So we've got the light and we've got a connector that plugs and plays into the snowblower, and then I've got a fuse here, a small glass fuse, 5 by 20 millimeters. And in this lump of RTV silicone, I've got an overvoltage protective device. The light is similar to the one before, except it's much smaller. It consumes about twice the current, and I think it's much brighter. The connector is the same connector that used to be on the previous assembly. And then in here, I'm going to do a little bit of a play-by-play on the circuit schematic. But what this device essentially does is, if the battery is disconnected and there's a lot of really large overvoltages, it'll detect that the voltage has gone above approximately 14.5 to 15 volts. When it detects that, it's going to short 12 volt rail to ground through a 3.3 ohm resistor. And what that'll do is it'll blow the fuse. So the fuse here is a 1 amp and the light is maybe 0.9 amps. And if we've got that overvoltage condition, first of all, the device will protect against the overvoltage, so it'll shunt it and bring it down to 14 or so. And then all that current from shunting that overvoltage to ground will blow the fuse. So if you're using one of these and the fuse pops, probably because there's something wrong with the battery. So here we're going to do a small walkthrough of the schematic on the overvoltage protection device. It's going to be quick and dirty. We've got the input here from the connector for the light. We've got the 12 volt and the ground. This connection to ground is just for the schematic's purpose. It's not actually connected in the blower or anything. So the way that this circuit works, the main device of the entire circuit is the transistor. And the transistor is gated by this Zener diode here, which is a 5.1 volt Zener diode. And these 3 resistors, the way it's drawn like this is because I didn't have a 280 ohm resistor, so I put in a 180 plus a 100. But essentially this is a voltage divider, and it's set up so that when the voltage of the 12 volt bus gets above approximately 15 volts, it'll make this Zener conduct, which will activate the base, which will create conduction through the transistor, and it'll connect the 12 volt rail to ground through the 3.3 ohm resistor. What this does is it's going to clip the voltages when they are above 15 volts, and it clips them down to approximately 15 volts, and I'll show that later. So that's a summary of the schematic. I've got a transistor that is switched through a Zener diode activated by a voltage divider and shunting the 12 volt rail to ground through a 3.3 ohm resistor, and this here is where our light is connected. So the connector comes in here and connects to the light here, and that is all. So we've got the PCB view then, that's kind of neat. Again, my friend Peter helped me with this. So we've got the 12 volt connections up here and the ground connections here, and we've got all the devices, and it's not worth getting into the nitty gritty of this, but I think one of the things that's cool is there's a 3D viewer in here. So in this 3D viewer, we can actually see what it looks like when it's built. This is the top view. And then we've got the bottom view. As I said, Pete's Gizmos there. It's our overvoltage protection. So this is a sheet of copper that's cut on the bottom using a CNC. And then on the top here, we've got the transistor, which is a 12 amp, fairly beefy transistor, a little bit overkill. We've got the Zener diode. We've got 3 1/4 watt resistors. And then we've got the bigger resistor, which is a 2 watt unit, and it is R4. And then we've got the positive and negative connections, or vice versa, not sure. So I think this is kind of a neat view, and it's actually got ray tracing as a feature as well, so you can get the ultra realistic views. And there we have realistic lighting apparently for this circuit board. Now in terms of selling these, I'm keen to sell some. I'm going to put in the description below the full list of parts that are involved in this. So it's a very small assembly, but there's lots of parts and they all have to be purchased, obviously. So for me, the cost of just the parts for this whole thing is about $65. And then to ship kind of nearby Ontario would be about $20. If it's further away, it'd be a little bit more. So for me, I plan on selling this for about $100. $100 is a lot of money for a light when you can get these things for $15 to $25. But this here gives you a plug and play option with an overvoltage protection circuit in there, and it increases your light as well. Now, it'll be a bit of a manual process to sell them, where just shoot me an email telling me you want one, and then either an Interac money transfer or PayPal, and I can get them made and send them out to you. Now, the only thing for me is I've actually just ordered some circuit boards from China, and it'll be a couple weeks. So I'm kind of looking to open up an order period. So I would open up an order period maybe till about March 20th. Whoever wants one by March 20th, let me know. And then I'm gonna order all the materials. If it's 5, if it's 10, if it's 20, I'm really not sure at this point. I'll order all the materials, then I'll put them together. And realistically, I'll probably get it to you by mid to late April. So unfortunately, anybody's in a rush, this is not really the right solution for you. But if you just wanna get a new light for next year and have it be protected, then I'm willing to make you one. Know that your light will arrive for sure. With tracked shipping, it just won't be quick because I have to get all that stuff, assemble all the boards. So I'm getting the circuit boards from China, but they're not gonna have any components on them. So then I would get the boards, I would assemble them with the components, I would package it up, wire it, assemble it just like this. Then I'd put it in a box and send it to you. So I'm also gonna show on the oscilloscope what it looks like when this device is working. You'll see exactly the overvoltages, and then you'll see where it's shunting them to, and then you're also going to see the fuse popping. So I'll show some unprotected, I'll show some protected, and I'll narrate those. All right, so I showed these waveforms last year when I was doing some testing on the snowblower, and in essence we can see here when the LED light died a fiery death, and we're not going to analyze this, but this is what the unprotected waveform looks like. If the battery is not connected or the fuse is pulled or if the battery's dead, like I said. So we've got voltages that peak at about 46 volts, and then later on we actually had the voltages peaking here at 56 volts. The purpose of the overvoltage circuit device is to mitigate this and prevent these voltage spikes from damaging the LED or anything else for that matter. So this is the unprotected version. So here we've got the protected version of the waveforms. We see here this is the snowblower starting, coming up to speed, and then here we've got the fuse popping. So the blue is the source voltage, and then the orange is the protected voltage. So here you can see the protected voltage goes to 0 because the fuse is opening the circuit. Of interest here is you'll see that both the voltages get capped to about 15.2 to say maximum of 17 volts, which is well within the new light's range, and probably the old one as well, by the way. And if we add there the LED current, we can see that while the voltage is being clipped, the current goes up, and it's this current that is going to blow the fuse, and the fuses have been selected just to permit that. If we take the average current right before the fuse pops, it's about 700 milliamps. But what we've got on there is we have to add on the lights current, which would be about 1 amp. And we have to take into account the transient currents that are occurring here, which if we inspect some of the currents here, we'll see that it's about 4.5 amps. So with a 1 amp fuse, all these are sufficient to pop the fuse and limit the currents appropriately. All right, so it's obviously very straightforward, but we're gonna walk through it anyway for completeness, as is normal on this channel. We're gonna first take this off by taking off the 4 screws. I've taken this off like 40 times, so I'm gonna go from here without getting the screws. So we're gonna lift this up gently. I usually push the 2 levers in front and then just lift it to get it out of the way enough. And then there's a connector located just underneath for the light. If you follow the light wiring, you'll see it. You're gonna push on the tab on the connector and pull the wire out. There's a little tab on there, and just pull it gently, pull it apart. Then we're gonna get a 12mm socket, and we're gonna get that nut loose that's underneath the light. And that's it, the light's off. So we then take the light with the bracket and the bolt, the small bolt that came with it. We assemble this. We put the bolt on the side where the bracket is dimpled. After putting the long bolt through, we are going to apply a little bit of blue Loctite. Then we can put the lock washer, we can put the nut. So for myself, I'm going to put the light with the bracket facing exactly down, maybe adjust it later. We're going to apply the lock washer and then the nut. And the good people at Grody thought it'd be great to do a 13mm hardware, which is very troubling for me because a 13mm doesn't belong on a Yamaha. I've only seen KTM use 13mm hardware in metric, but anyway. So we're going to straighten that out, tighten it. Now we've got the small bolt hanging there. we are going to put the piece of rubber that came in this kit onto the bolt, and we are going to put the light on. Now personally, I like the stainless hardware touch from Grody, but I personally am going to use a zinc coated nylock nut. All right, we've got that light secure in there now. So as for myself, I've put the wire right down here above this bolt. The connector lands and plugs right here. This overvoltage protector can actually go and hang out here. Now what I'm going to do is put a tie wrap here. All right, so we're going to do a quick demonstration of how this overvoltage protection device works. So I'm going to open the door, I'll pull the fuse, the light will turn off, I'll manually start the blower, and you'll see how the light behaves for about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, then it should turn off, meaning the fuse is popped. Now, this is a prototype version, so the fuse, not that it's hard to access, but it's not hanging down, which would be kind of a next design revision. I'd look to maybe do that, have more distance on it. So that's why I've kept my cover off here, because I'll replace the fuse quite quickly. But again, this shouldn't be a fuse that you have to replace often. It's once in a blue moon. At least it saves your light and all this stuff. All right, here we go. We've got our fuse out. Gonna put the choke. I'm gonna start. We've got a new 1 amp fuse. The 1 amp fuse has been put in. We put our fuse back and we're back in business. So now we can do an electric start here. All right, so I've got the old light here just for comparison on size. The new light is much, much smaller. So I guess in summary, this video is about replacing the old light with a new light that has about double the number of lumens and double the current. It's got an overvoltage protection circuit. It's got stainless steel hardware, although on the bottom I put a lock nut. And I've got that whole assembly there that I said $100 is kind of where I'll start, but I'll see how it all progresses. I'm gonna put all the parts and the schematics down in the description. This is an open source project. There's nothing proprietary here, and if you want to go ahead and assemble this all yourself, I think it's probably obvious to everyone that I'm not making any money on this. Actually, it's just kind of a pastime, we'll call it. Obviously, $100 is a lot for a small LED light like this, but the point is that it's packaged and tested with the overvoltage protection circuit. And depending on shipping, I might have to alter it a little bit. But so hopefully it gives people some options or ideas as to how they want to go about replacing this light. As I said before, if you want to put on a really large light in terms of current consumption and put a switch, that's another option too. There's some good space up here for a switch if you want to use that, or I might be inclined to hide it or mount it to one of these posts. You don't have to cut into the plastic, but anyway, I can kind of leave that with you if you want to pursue that, but I'm willing to support this basic option here. All right, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe. Talk soon.